Oh.
Yellow Productions presents a live stream for today, August 5th, 2017. I'm Chris.
I'm Jack.
And today we're going to be telling you the 10 best places in the USA to go for barbecue. We are eating some barbecue here. This is Jack's famous barbecue. Part of doing this live, we shot a video about how to make this barbecue, so stay tuned for that in a week. But in addition to eating this barbecue while we're here, we're going to meet Jack, then he's going to give you a quick history of barbecue in the USA, because barbecue has a very interesting history in the USA. And we're also going to be giving away a free t-shirt. We're going to be giving away one of these Yellow Productions t-shirts right here. As you can see, Jack and I are both sporting them. And this t-shirt will go to the person who makes the best question during the live stream. And if you're on at the end, Jack's going to pick. And if you're on and you say you're on, then I'll ship the t-shirt anywhere in the world, even to those of you in Singapore. And so if you are curious about the table of contents, if you look in the show notes in the description, you'll see all of that there. So without further ado, I would like Jack to introduce himself to all of you. Jack, tell us about yourself.
Oh, howdy, folks. It's quite an honor to join Chris at the live stream here. I've been invited, and I feel like it's a great honor. I am I'm a consultant for a healthcare IT company. And I do travel a lot throughout the United States, a little bit over around the world, just to kind of travel for work and travel for fun. So just as a result of that, I've been doing that for about 13 years. And as a result of that, it created a hefty body and a healthy appetite. And since I have a knack for cooking, this cooking is almost become like second nature sometimes. To kind of explore while I'm out there, to kind of see and experience cooking all over the world. One of the things I picked up, I did live in Kansas City which is a huge barbecue town, for 2 years, and as a result, I experienced a lot of great barbecue out there in the Midwest and in America, Midwest, and just these parts, Kansas City is a melting pot of barbecue, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But it's a great, as I go all over the country, I start experiencing and just taste a lot of different barbecue. You just kind of get appreciation for the good old American cooking,
right? And so this barbecue that we're going to be eating here, and we just sort of decided to do this as we eat our dinner and talk to y'all. We've got some pulled pork, which is Jack's famous pulled pork. It's made with just 3 ingredients, so stay tuned for that video in a week. Some sweet Hawaiian rolls to go with it. We've got it in a big pot up here too. If you want to see our big pot of pulled pork right there, so we might be reaching into that if we get hungry. And we are drinking watermelon juice because there's nothing really better than watermelon juice on a hot summer day. So let's go ahead and go to a few questions and comments, and then Jack, I'll have you tell us about the history of barbecue in the U.S. So Aw Clement says, hi from Singapore. Aw Clement, thanks for joining in. Scottman 895 Travel says, good evening. The barbecue looks delicious. It is delicious, let me tell you. And OC Girl says hi. OC Girl's going to be our moderator on this. She has a little gear next to her thing, or a wrench. Yippee, howdy, Hansel Ying. And I like the t-shirt a lot. Well, Hansel, if you ask the best question, then you might just win the t-shirt.
Keep those questions coming, folks.
Right. Clement asked the first question, which was, Chris, how did you meet Jack? And, that's a good question. That is a good question. So my wife went to school with Jack, and so I met Jack through my wife. I can't remember the exact day or place I met you. Do you remember?
No, but it was through her, though. That's what she
That's right. And the way I got to know Jack as a barbecue man is we usually host an annual July 4th Independence Day party, and Jack one year offered to bring over a big vat of pulled pork, and I loved it so much that I selfishly invited Jack over the next year and said, can you bring your pulled pork too? So it's really delicious.
Now that legacy has passed down to Chris, he knows how to do it now.
Oh,
there's no more place for me.
The secret is that there still is, Jack. There's always a place for you. SoCal Seth says, I'm biased. The best barbecue I've had is my own. All right, Seth, you are a little biased, but there is a famous place in Texas called the Salt Lick that's great. Also a place in Mississippi called the Shed. I've been to the Salt Lick. We were out there. We didn't go to the original one. We went to the second one. But I agree with you on that, SoCal Seth. Yippee says, I just ate barbecue Southern Creole food tonight. Yippee. What kind of barbecue did you have? Doug Wallace is putting down and says the t-shirt is his. So, all right, cue up the questions. Colin Cohen says Kia ora for New Zealand, which I assume is like a New Zealand type greeting, right, Colin? Winnie Cooper, hello. Colin asks, did you make your own rolls? Jack, can you pass the roll thing here? The rolls.
Here you go.
The rolls are King's Hawaiian rolls. They are sweetbread rolls. And so, no, we didn't make them. We bought them from the local supermarket.
Sorry.
Pretty delicious, though.
They're actually coming from a local bakery here in Southern California.
That's right.
They have a restaurant, too, if you're having to go around town. Look them up. They're really good. Good Hawaiian joint.
They are pretty good. Clement says you should make a video about how to make the food that you're eating. And you know, Clement.
Oh no!
That's a really great idea. And you might not believe that we actually just finished shooting that video before we did this live. And so, since Jack was here, we're doing the live. It all works together. Okay. So let's go ahead and go on to the first thing in our table of contents, the history of barbecue in the USA. So Jack, before we get into the 10 best places to go for barbecue in the USA, you were going to tell us a little bit of background so we know what we're talking about. So,
yes. All right.
educate us on barbecue.
Well, I wouldn't go that far because a lot of history are still kind of up to the debate in terms of like what exactly and where the barbecue actually came from. But just out of the regulation, it had so just sort of strictly looking into American barbecue and how it come about is really coming from a combination of the when the founding of the nation, like a lot of the barbecue cooking coming down from the south, where pigs are traditionally a lot cheaper than beef to raise in terms of the speed that these pigs grow in terms of from birth to table. It's a lot shorter and hence a lot cheaper in terms of getting that food on the table. A lot of it had the original beginning in terms of pit in the barbecue, the whole pig in the pit getting cooked and bringing on about, and that kind of proliferates and evolves as day goes on. And a lot of the barbecue actually has if you notice the major barbecue joint, looking at the Midwest, and looking at the Carolinas in the South, and looking at the Memphis, Tennessee. If you look at also Texas, they all kind of have that root in the South, and which it has that humble beginning in terms of really it's a lot of barbecue that you see in parts of the barbecue that we now see as delicacy, or in fact a lot of time they're the part of the meat that's not very shall we say in the primal portion.
So Jack, are you telling me that this is cheap meat that we're eating now? This isn't this isn't a delicacy? What are you saying?
Well, I'm saying is that these meat are typically a lot of the part ribs, and also this portion of it this is never not what we're eating here. It's different, not something like a tenderloin or something of the primal part of the meat.
Yeah,
this is a little bit fattier,
and it was actually kind of cheap, right?
Yeah, and this is.
If you buy filet mignon, it's $40 a pound. Then we got 4 pounds of this pork shoulder for $7.50 or something. So yeah, it is cheap, and it's amazing with barbecue that you can turn such cheap cuts of meat into something so delicious.
Oh yes, and with the different part, if you think of ribs, obviously that's the part of the meat that doesn't have a lot. That's part of the cow doesn't have a lot of meat in it, and the rib is just only that meat kind of surrounding the bones. So again, that these are meats that takes a lot of times it's the meat that takes a long time to cook, and requires a lot of flavor to bake in.
So how long's a long time?
Oh, we're talking about 8. So for our meat over here, it takes about 8 hours to cook, to kind of really cut into the fiber and really break it break that meat down. So
So you have to have patience to
patience and like
cook barbecue.
and also barbecue, as you know, has a lot of flavor and sauce. A lot of it is dependent on the sauce itself, not the. It's because a lot of time the meat that you kind of originate from doesn't come from like the meat itself. You cannot depend on the meat for flavor. So a lot of time the sauce is produced kind of baked into the meat, like as you cook, like just gonna get that in there. A lot of that is just like whether you use a dry rub, like rub it on top of the meat and like kind of sit overnight, and then like you cook it, or you kind of do a wet like rub, like kind of rub it on the meat, like constantly while it's in the smoker, you kind of wet it like with sauce, like constantly going and going. This is really like something that like the sauce is like the essence of any barbecue.
Yeah. So the sauce that we are eating today, and I guess there's the sauce which is kind of like the meat juice, and there's the sauce which is the barbecue. We are dining on this sauce right here. Sorry, the lights put a lot of glare on it, but this is the Night of the Living barbecue sauce from Kansas City. It's got a pretty good kick to it. And when Jack said 8 hours, I had to start this pulled pork at 9 this morning, so a lot of patience to come to this.
And he has been smelling this thing for since 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. It's been smelling pretty good, I have to say. All right. So let's go to a few questions, and then we'll go on to number 1. And I'll talk a little bit so that way Jack can eat a little bit too. He can eat his delicious food and not just be the
I'll answer questions if you're paid to me.
the slave chef. So I'll make a couple comments, and then I'll get back to one for you, Jack. So Colin from New Zealand says, Christopher, stop eating. He says it's lunchtime here and I'm starving.
That's great.
Colin, we've succeeded if you're hungry, because it's pretty good. Question from Hansel Ying. Jack, when did you learn how to cook?
Oh wow, takes me back. I always I'm a mama's boy and a grandma's boy, so you always hang around them when I was a little kid, and a lot of time with the Asian family, like cooking is a big part of that family life. So just kind of hanging around them, I kind of got through observation and like osmosis, if you can say that, just kind of watching them, I can kind of soak into that greatness. Like a lot of time we ask them, I remember at the thing that I tried, I was like, how much did you put into like these? How much salt did you put in there? How much spices? They always answer me like, oh, just put a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Like you really kind of through observation.
It's not very scientific.
It's not at all. Yeah, right. And also like you gotta think about it, when any type of cooking, like that, it's very objective, and like you really have to. Everybody has their own like that point where like it's like, oh, this is the best. Like this is delicious. It's kind of through trial and error and like kind of tasting and experimenting when you get to that point. But yeah, to answer the question, that's kind of where I got my start, and like then once I started becoming going to college, I just gonna start experimenting with the food, like whether it be cup of ramen, eggs. I think I distinctly remember eggs is the first thing that kind of started.
Eggs, like scrambled eggs or sunny side up eggs.
Scrambled eggs, right. Sunny side up. Yeah, there's all different flavor eggs, and it kind of that's a slippery slope from there.
Mm-hmm. All right, next question. Doug Wallace asked, where is Topher?
Oh my God.
And, he was watching the live stream from just across the room. He heard you. He came downstairs, and so Topher is right here.
Hey, we could never go without Topher.
I'll put him right there, so everybody knows that he's part of this, too. All right, cool. Great question, Clement. Clement asks, is there any big fire that came from cooking barbecue?
Oh, big fire. Answer this question is going to be a no with a little caveat. Generally, barbecue are cooked over slow heat or sometimes indirect heat, depending on which style of barbecue we're talking about. So typically there's no big fire. They throw it in, boom, it's ready. No, it takes a long time. A lot of meat, like in the barbecue joint, when they make them, it's being smoked. Meats are being smoked at 250 degrees Fahrenheit Don't know what that is in Celsius. Sorry, folks in Singapore. But you can Google it.
I think 250 degrees Fahrenheit. That's almost like the air temperature in Singapore, right? It's pretty hot there,
Yeah, there you go. So what you could do is like it's a lot of it. It's just slow heat, and it's like a lot of time and a lot of commitment to kind of smoke good meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this particular pulled pork we're eating was made in the slow cooker, so there was no flame at all. That just plugs into the wall. Colin asks Jack, do you always do your pork in a crock pot slow cooker?
No, not necessarily. Depending on what kind of meat that we do. If you're talking about ribs, I typically go do it over grill. And then I have a gas grill at home. I actually play around with a smoker before. Obviously, I'm always into like kind of the experimenting with different method. I know the latest trend like nowadays is doing something called a sous vide day.
Oh yeah, sure.
The water bath cooking. Not for barbecue, unfortunately, but it is also kind of similar idea where you slow cook the food in a very low temperature water bath. So there's that similarity between that new type of cooking. So really, we're going back to our root, right? Slow cooking, like the food, like take that time and heat, kind of just like cook that flavor in there. So yeah, I mean this too. So the first thing, no big fire, and I do use like grill. So if for rib, and depending on what I do, pulled pork is just something that's easy and something to eat that tastes real good and real without lot effort. A lot of time in modern life, unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of time. Sometimes we just want to get something in the stove and eat. So slow cook's a way to kind of let it sit for go out of work, put the meat in, flip on the switch, come back, and then you're ready to eat. So
Yeah.
a lot of times it's more convenience than
It's pretty easy. Pretty easy. Turn it on. But you got to plan ahead. Okay. Jake McShane asks you, Jack, if you ever make your own sauce, or do you just use the sauce in the bottle?
I have not. I had to be honest. I have not made my sauce before. That is always something that I talked about the luxury of time. 3-0 at home. That luxury of time is not there. But I do imagine one day to kind of experiment on sauce. But that's a good point. I will definitely have to put that on my list
All right.
to try. Yeah.
That'll be the next level.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yippee asks if you use a smoker. I think you answered that question. He asked, how's your barbecue? I'm going to say his barbecue is good because I'm eating it. Gas or coal wood chips?
Oh, yes. When I use smoker, I typically use wood chip. Depending on what kind of meat I do. I sometimes do a little mesquite, or hickory. Depending on what kind of flavor, I'll kind of mix it into the food. So if the smoker, you can always do that on the grill also. If you have a coal, fire, and you can probably put that wood chip, with the usually it's kind of like a container, that you put the wood chip in and kind of let that flavor in there as well. So yeah, I have friends who use apple wood, everybody it's really a personal preference in terms of what kind of wood chip do you use. Yeah, but yeah, I do use wood chips.
All right, so all the above, it sounds like. Doug Wallace says, hi, Topher. Topher says, hi, Doug. Hansel asks Jack, where are you from? Smiley face. He didn't say smiley face. He put the emoticon smiley face afterwards.
Well,
I just verbalized it.
No. Well, I'm originally born in Taiwan, Taipei, Taiwan. And moved over here to the United States when I was 16 years old. Yeah, and it's been a great ride ever since. Being the state, traveled around I moved to Kansas City for 2 years, as I said, after completing my school.
So that's where you got your barbecue cred, right?
That is where I got my barbecue cred.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of barbecuing. I have quickly assimilate myself over there and just kind of breathe, like, because people over there just breathe barbecue. Breathe,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it'll be snowing outside. I'll be grilling. So.
That's good. All right.
And, like, tailgating at the Arrowhead Stadium. There you go. That's what we do.
Cool. So Brandon Torres says, "Wow, looks delicious." It is pretty good. Thanks, Brandon. And we'll have a video in about a week that'll tell you how to make it. Clement basically asked the same question that Hansel did. He asked where you were from, so I think you answered that. Die Hard Disney John McCain has a very interesting handle, and he says hi. Hi. Jake McShane asks, is the flavor noticeably different if you cook with charcoal versus propane?
There is, I think, yes. I would say yes. Charcoal definitely give that little bit of like smokiness on the meat itself. Gas is just straight on heat. It's probably not too much different than when you cook it in the oven. So yes, there's that charcoal smokiness, like flavor. I can got other type charcoal that's out there that I kind of infuse with that mesquiteness or hickoryness, charcoal. So yeah, that's definitely I would say definitely add to the flavor to it. But obviously with the charcoal, it's a little harder to control temperature. So there's definitely pluses and minuses around that.
Right, and more work. I'm not quite the barbecue aficionado that Jack is. I do have an outdoor grill to do,
Chris.
to do like steaks and things
This
like that.
flattery's overall.
But I have a not propane, but a natural gas grill because I'm lazy. So the natural gas grill means I don't ever have to get any charcoal, or I don't have to go get any propane. It's always hooked up, and I can always turn it on. So that's something to think about. But I do like the flavor of charcoal grilled things better. And I know we're sort of talking about American barbecue and not like Asian barbecue. But
yes, that's another topic altogether.
Yeah, that's another topic, right? There's like Korean barbecue and Japanese barbecue, and I'll say those places that cook with actual charcoal, you can really tell the difference versus a place that has natural gas or something otherwise. Okay, so there's a few more questions, but I say let's go ahead and go on to our first state.
And see, people are passionate about their barbecues.
They are.
have a lot of
It's
questions.
excellent.
Yeah,
and then
great.
we'll go back to the questions. How's that sound?
Yeah, it's
So
fantastic.
so the first area that we're going to talk about as a place to visit in the U.S. is the Carolinas. There's two Carolinas. There's North Carolina and there's a South Carolina. So Jack, tell us about the barbecue in North Carolina and South Carolina.
So Carolinas have their they're the whole pig. They believe in the whole pig, cook over a pit, and nothing goes to waste kind of type of barbecue. Typically, what I think of Carolinas is they're more of a vinegary-based sauce. So that definitely that that acidity that's kind of cutting across, can give that unique flavor. And that whole pig, over the pit, it actually has, I had the Hawaiian whole pig versus the Carolina whole pig. I'm not gonna jump out there and say hey, which one do I like better? Because really it's up to you to decide how good you like each thing.
Jack doesn't want this video to be controversial. He doesn't want too much hate mail later. So.
No, I know that people are passionate about the food, and I have my favorite. I'm sure as you do, but yeah, this is really set up, kind of conversation set up. Give an idea, when you do venture out in that neck of the woods, do explore and try the local flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Carolina, obviously, I myself would like to kind of try that whole pig, yeah. So I had a sample of it. Kansas City has, on an annual basis, there's Kansas City has barbecue competitions, and that's where I kind of sample some of the Carolina barbecues. I haven't yet been to any of the Carolinas yet.
Okay.
But boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
I will definitely want to get out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what Jack said's pretty interesting, and we were making the pulled pork, started it yesterday. We were talking about barbecue competitions. And so if you find a barbecue competition in a town that you're going to be in the U.S., check it out, because you can sample a lot of different barbecue from a lot of different places. I was in Stockholm Sweden about a year ago, and there was a like outdoor food event, and there was the Swedish Texas barbecue team. And in Sweden, this group of Swedes that make Texas barbecue have actually won barbecue competitions in the U.S. And so I think that's just kind of cool. And I had the barbecue there in Sweden. It was actually pretty good Texas barbecue. They are in Stockholm, Sweden. They're really big on pulled pork, which is what we're eating here today. All right, so before we go on to number 2, I'll go to questions, but I just want to make a remark on the Carolinas, so that this is controversial or slightly not controversial. You mentioned vinegary. I personally don't like vinegary barbecue. I personally like more of the, I guess, either the sweeter or the spicier barbecue. And the vinegary ones, I don't know. It just there's a phrase that I use in my Singapore videos about lime juice, and somebody mentioned it in the comments that whenever I drink lime juice, I say it makes you pucker. And that's kind of how I feel about the vinegary-based sauces.
Pucker.
They kind of make me pucker a little bit.
Nice way to put it.
Yeah. Okay, Clement comments and says, I'm drinking too much watermelon juice. I don't think there's such thing as too much watermelon juice.
Especially summer, man. You gotta dig in there.
Yeah.
Watermelon's abundant and plenty. You know, we always bought like, gigantic watermelon. We cannot manage to finish.
Right.
Put in the juice.
That's right. That's right. Colin Cohen asks, what can you do if the meat turns out a bit dry? Is there anything you can add to the pot to moisten the meat before serving?
Ooh, good question. Well, it depends on what kind of meat. Typically, with anything that has some fat in it, it's gonna it's gonna help you like in terms of keeping that meat from being dry in the first place. What we had today is a little bit like it's more of a pork shoulder roll. It's like it has a little bit of fat in between, so you can be sure that doesn't really get to that point. But if you happen to run to that, sauce is your best friend. You gotta put more sauce on that. Nobody minds like too much sauce, or there's no such thing as too saucy in my book. A little bit more sauce can go with it, just kind of how you can do gravy, like when your turkey's a little dry.
Yeah.
You always add a turkey ladle over it, like,
Right. So Jack, I hear like in the world of barbecue, there's like this whole thing about whether you cook with sauce or whether you cook without sauce, and then serve like the meat unsauced and allow people to put on sauce. I don't know, but what do you know about that?
So, yes, their meat that's kind of like that's like we call it the dry rub. Basically, these are a mix of spices and like salt and pepper, like it's all kind of that's rubbed on top of the meat, and they get into the pit and like got that smoking treatment. The meat come out. There's flavor on the meat already that doesn't require you to actually eat, like to add sauce on top of that. It has its flavor as its own, so you can eat it. So a lot of time at those restaurants, like or that kind of style of cooking, you can have like barbecue on the side. That usually have a bottle or two of barbecue on the side, so sauce on the side.
Yeah.
So if you want to indulge yourself with some sauce, you can. But if you just serve it dry, like you can just eat it as is.
Okay. Interesting. Doug Wallace, and this is the lime juice comment. He asked if I was sneaking lime juice. Doug, I like lime juice when I'm in Singapore and Asia a lot, particularly because it's like so hot. I find it refreshing. I don't really drink a lot of lime juice when I'm back here in the States because I actually wouldn't know where to buy it even if I wanted it. Clement says you should make a video about the one chip challenge.
Ooh, what is that challenge?
I don't know what the one chip challenge is. Clement, what is the one chip challenge? I guess we're going to have to look that up. Michael Jones asks something about why do Australians, New Zealanders, who are the same thing to Michael, have to go to Honolulu to bother me with their boredom and bitch about how much it costs to do it? Michael, I am not sure. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. But I guess it's probably because they love Hawaii. I mean, who doesn't love Hawaii? So I think you should take that as a compliment that people want to come there. RZ Carnet says he hasn't tried barbecue in Texas, but his friends have. They rate it the best in the world.
Stop the debate.
Yeah.
Stop the debate, Michael. I'm going to have to tell you that. I had some great Kansas City barbecue. You should try that there. May change your mind on that.
Yeah.
Or change your friend's mind.
May change his friend's mind.
Yeah.
So when we get to the Texas barbecue, that'll be my giveaway. I like barbecue in Texas because I like the style in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like barbecue in a lot of the different places we're going to talk about here too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Brandon Torres asks, any type of barbecue you like the most?
Whoa.
Yeah, you have to pick now. You have to be controversial. Which barbecue?
I'm gonna let you take that question first. I have to think about that.
You want me to take that question?
Yeah, any type of barbecue you like first.
Okay, so I would say, like, when I go to a barbecue restaurant, the thing that I like best is a barbecue beef brisket sandwich. Texas style with kind of maybe like a sweet, maybe like a little cinnamony sort of barbecue sauce. I like my barbecue sauce warm too, as opposed to cold. So some Texas barbecue joints, you'll go in and they'll have like this big container that has, it's almost like something you'd have coffee in or something, but instead they have barbecue sauce. Because, they serve as much barbecue sauce as some place might serve coffee.
Yes.
And so they keep it hot. And I like the brisket not to be sliced, but I like the brisket to be chopped. So I like a chopped barbecue brisket sandwich with macaroni and cheese and sweet barbecue beans as opposed to vinegary barbecue beans, because that's a whole other category of like baked beans. They come in like 27 different varieties too.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite.
Well, first time I go to a new place, I always try, because they'll always have it, believe it or not. So they'll always have ribs. If you cannot make your rib right, you don't deserve a notch on my book. So you have to have
Ribs.
rib.
All right.
So rib, typically, you want it to fall all the bone goodness, and you want to have that good flavor, moist in the inside. And it could be, some people can kind of dry because some of your sauce, either way, it cannot be dry. It has to be moist. It has to have good flavor.
Yeah. So
And if you manage to get that wrong, unfortunately, I will not be coming back to a joint.
Okay. So do you have a favorite place for ribs then? Of all the places you've been in the world, where are your favorite ribs?
Well,
Your favorite. Doesn't have to, it's not the best, but your favorite.
okay, I have to say this is more on the sentimental value. I've had a lot of places, there's a place in Bali, out of all places.
Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Bali has actually very, very good ribs.
Huh.
Yeah, it's
I would not have thought so.
Yes,
Interesting.
you would think American barbecue in Indonesia. And,
Right.
Hey, believe it or not, it's there. Look it up. Very good.
So is that your favorite?
It's a more sentimental favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a
All right.
lot of them in my book.
Okay. Cool. Jake McShane asks, is barbecue food bad for you? I hope not, because we're eating a lot of it, I mean, it's not really a health food, but I guess what I would say
It's a
is,
comfort food, I think.
Sure, it's a comfort food, but I think also, I don't think barbecue's awful for you, and the reason why is in a week, if you watch the video about what we did to cook this pulled pork, it's basically meat that's been cooked for a long time, and there's not like a lot of added, butters and creams and MSG and there's a lot of artificial things like in these Dorito chips. I'd probably say these Dorito chips are probably worse for me than the pulled pork, because I'm sure whatever makes this orange isn't that natural.
Yeah. I have to say, all in moderation, man. You don't have a lot of it. Anything in moderation is won't be too bad for you. Obviously it's not gonna be quinoa or kale or things that's supposed to be quote unquote good for you. But anything, and especially anything that's charred or it's a little got the char on it, that's gonna, even though it tastes great, technically it's carcinogen, but hey, there's a lot of carcinogen in the air too. We don't stop breathing.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
Don't you?
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, I would say, just you can enjoy it and not worry about being healthy, but just consume in moderation. That's my advice. Yeah.
Okay. Jack says moderation. I say Just eat till you're full. You know, that's what I say. So.
Oh, Chris.
All right. Ozzy Carnett gave a smiley face. Walter Rommel says, "Hello there. I saw the notification. Finished watching the 10th episode of Hannibal, and then came here."
Uh-oh.
So Walter, welcome. And for those of you who recently joined the stream, we're giving away a free T-shirt. The free T-shirt is to whoever asks the best question, as judged by Jack, and we're going to give this out at the end of the stream. So ask questions, and that T-shirt could be yours. Ship it any place in the world. All right. Colin gave one of these emoticons. I'm not sure what this is called, but it's a little smiley face with a thinking. Yippee asks, "What's your favorite barbecue sauce or brand?"
Wow.
Is it
Well,
this?
I think so. I'm biased with Kansas City, so hey, this is the Kansas City barbecue that I cook with Night of the Living sauce.
All right. There you have it. Colin Cohen says, "I hit the nail on the head with that sandwich." So I guess he's a beef brisket sandwich fan. Ozzy Carnett responds to Jake McShane and says, "Barbecue is certainly not health food, my friend. It's a sometimes food, like once a week or month type treat." Like maybe
I'm not arguing with you on that.
it may, where I would argue though is like if you're traveling to Texas, then I think it's like an everyday meal. Because like if I'm in Texas, then like the barbecue's delicious, and so if I'm there for 3 days, I'm gonna have barbecue every day. I might not have barbecue for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but because I might not have had it for a month, then I'm gonna go get it 3 times.
You can probably grill them like there's different type of ingredient that you can grill with. It doesn't necessarily have to be meat. It doesn't have to go through the sauce treatment. Anything that's you cook over a fire can be considered barbecue. So it could be it could be grilling a very lean protein such as chicken or fish.
Yeah.
Like that could be a very healthy thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I'm saying that because we grill every almost on a daily basis in Kansas City. So and then we do grill like corn, we do grill like vegetables on a kebab. Like all of these can be like it's the way how I approach it. It's just a cooking style barbecue. You can cook it however you want with it. You can definitely cook healthy, or you can do unhealthy.
Yeah, that's right. You can make your corn on the grill, and you can either load it full of butter or not. Right.
Exactly. So it's really like in the perspective of thinking of how to cook it. It's just a method of cooking, nothing more.
Right. Doug Wallace asked a funny question, and I guess this one's aimed at me. He says, "Chris, a history question. How many times did you wipe the sweat off your face in your 15 Singapore videos?" That is a really interesting question, and a lot. I'll probably have to go back and actually rewatch them to tell you how many. But the way that started in the first Singapore travel guide I did, my wife, she was holding the camera, and she said, and I wiped the sweat off my forehead, and because I brought this towel with me from the hotel. Because it's so hot in Singapore. And at some point she was like, "We should get that on camera," because of the number of times I've done it, because it's so hot. And then it just kind of became like a gag as it's so hot. But it's a gag, but it's not a gag, because Singapore really is that hot. It's wicked hot.
Maybe next time when you do video, you should wear like yellow production bandana.
I should wear a bandana. Yeah, that's what I need, right? Like a portable fan or something too. All right. Amy says, "Hi guys."
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Amy. Jake McShane asks if you've tried the McRib sandwich at McDonald's. Is that a good option if you want some quick barbecue? I am.
Shame for you, Jake, for even suggesting that.
Yeah.
Shame on you, man.
Right.
McDonald's don't come to barbecue. It's microwave food, buddy. No, I'm kidding. You want to take that one, Chris?
So I have not had the McRib, but I've talked to people that have had the McRib, and my understanding of it, it's sort of like maybe like a pressed meat pork, almost like a manufactured thing, like Spam, that then has some like weird McDonald's barbecue sauce on it. I do not think that's a good substitute for quick barbecue, because I feel like quick barbecue has to be cooked for a gazillion hours, and just McDonald's, you just can't do that. You can't get the same consistency of the meat.
I would say that a quick barbecue could be like a quick steak on the grill. Like, that would be a good barbecue and quick barbecue. Steak cooked very quick. Like, typically this is a better part of meat. Like, you don't want to overcook it. A lot of time it's really fire the grill, where the grill to warm up. Like, 3 minutes, like, 2-3 minutes on each side. Like, it depends on how well done you want it to be. And like, that there you go, that's your barbecue right over there. So
Cool.
yeah, I would consider that a quick barbecue. McDonald's, again, I'll just say barbecue sauce makes up a lot of the of what's considered a good barbecue. I think I had tried to make rib sandwich before, and I have to say it does taste, it's a sauce that's rescuing it from like, from the streets. Yeah, so if you want to consider that barbecue, I mean, I guess. You can't get any quicker in the microwave sauce on the...
Right. I think the quote of the day for this video is, the sauce is rescuing the McRib from disgrace.
There you go.
All right. That's quoted by Jack. All right. Walter said, don't be offended by the Hannibal comment.
Oh,
He
no,
said
not
that
at all.
Hannibal's one of those shows you don't click off, certainly not for one about food unless it's liver and fava beans.
See, like, about the whole, like, eating the food was in entirety, like, well, it kind of referring back to the Hannibal comment. Yeah, so all part of the meat are being eaten. Like, that's like, we do not condone like food waste. At the same time, I'm not going to volunteer myself to eat like, maybe the eyeball of the pig or something like that. That's a little exhausting for my stomach. But, and there are folks in part of the town, like, just eat everything. Like, to prevent food waste.
So you leave the eyeballs to the other people.
Yeah, I mean, all the power to the
Right.
folks who can't eat it.
That's right.
I don't have the stomach for it.
That's right.
Fortunately.
Cool. All right. And so the last comment, then we're going to go on to location number 2. The next comment, Colin Cohen said, looking at your plate, I'd say the mayonnaise in your coleslaw is the worst thing to eat. It will be about 98% butterfat. Put sweet chili sauce on your corn cob before barbecuing. Delish. Well,
Great comment.
Yeah, I will say that actually Jack and I had a conversation about coleslaw in the supermarket, and part of the reason why we made our own is because the supermarket one just comes like drenched in sauce, and so this is actually very light on the sauce. It's mostly slaw and just a little bit of sauce.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's go on to number 2.
All right.
The second best place in the U.S., second because it's number 2 on our list.
Not in that order.
No, is St. Louis, Missouri. We have 2 Missouris. We're going to talk about St. Louis and Kansas City, so maybe we could combine them. So, Jack, tell us about St. Louis and Kansas City, Missouri barbecue.
We're just going to talk about Missouri barbecue in the first place.
Yeah.
Missouri, like, since it sounds too much like misery, like, folks were telling, like, folks in actually Missouri will say that it's Missouri. So, if you talk about Kansas City, Missouri, don't be mistaken. They're not pronouncing it wrong.
They just don't want you to
They
think
don't
it's
want,
miserable.
yeah.
All right.
Don't want to have that thought in your brain. All right, so I'll start with Kansas City. Kansas City style food, like, are like, kind of throughout the history, barbecue, like, past the Civil War era, folks are joining, are converging into Kansas City, and a lot along the way they brought their cooking with them. You can enter from all over the South, so from the east to the south, like, all kind of converge. And if you look at the map, Kansas City is right down in the center of the United States, and we call them the Heartland. Really, like, it is a melting pot, literally, of all the different kind of, like, a style of barbecue. What kind of makes a Kansas City barbecue distinct is that it has, like, throughout the years have developed, like, its own specialty in terms of what is considered a Kansas City barbecue. There's actually one particular dish in Kansas City that I found, like, that I couldn't find. If you go any other places, you don't typically find them. Are something called the burn ends. The burn ends are these, like, trims out of the briskets, and, like, they put them in the sauce, like, have these, like, the end pieces of meat, where it's still the same type of meat. It's just, like, kind of on the outside, got a little extra char, since it's on the exposing on the outside,
like more flavorful, right?
Yeah, so they have that char flavor of it, and then they just put it in the sauce and kind of let it let it simmer for just a little bit longer. And so what you get is like something like really really saucy.
Saucy.
Yeah. So they put it. Some of them are really saucy, and some I've seen some that's just basically chopped up, and then they have the sauce on the side. So that's why we're talking about the dry, and they do serve it dry on some places, and they do serve like wet.
Yeah.
Right on those places. So the burn are so good. Like those I'd say like there has been like a couple places that kind of pop up. My sentimental favorite while I was living in Kansas City was literally the this place called Arthur Bryant's has been in town for a very very long time. It's now the original owner, the actual Arthur Bryant himself, had passed away. Is now in the second or third generation now. But you'll see if you go to the original location down at Troops in Brooklyn, in Kansas City, you'll see that there a lot of the old pit hand is still working and they're working out of sweat. Yeah, what kind of blew my mind first when I first walked in is that they asked me, hey, like I saw burn in on the menu and say, hey, I want a plate of burn in. It's like say, all right, what do you want to fry with that? It's like I said, sure. Like you never had barbecue with fry before, I'll give it a try. So what they do is like they give me about this much of meat in my plate.
Yeah.
And they give me like another this much of fries on the same plate.
So you didn't walk away hungry, is what you're saying.
Oh, I did it. For some miracle, it was so good. I managed to polish the meat off. And I was so full that day, Chris.
I bet.
Yeah, I literally had to take steps and take a couple steps. Gotta catch my breath. Going to my car again.
Right, working up that heart attack. Huh?
Yeah. It was quite an experience. But
Right.
yeah, I mean that's my kind of sentimental
Okay.
favorite while I was out there. Yeah, try burn in when you're in Kansas City, folks.
Cool.
Very good.
So my favorite in those two cities, so Kansas City and St. Louis. Kansas City, my favorite is Oklahoma Joe's.
Yes.
And Oklahoma Joe's is the best barbecue in a gas station that I've ever had. Because they're literally in like a gas station. Like there's the gas station that you go get gas. There's like the mini mart, and then next to the mini mart, there's like this barbecue restaurant.
Believe it or not, that gas station is actually functioning.
Yeah, right. So
You can actually get gas from there.
right, it's one of those things where you're like, I just wouldn't believe that I'd get delicious barbecue at a gas station. But go to Kansas City, and you can, right?
This is Oklahoma Joe sauce, literally. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's good to know.
So there you go.
Cool. And then in St. Louis, Missouri,
It's more than rib. I think.
ribs,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Mhm.
the dry rub ribs.
Mhm.
I had a place called Pappy's.
Patties.
And it was one of those places, like I looked it up on Yelp, and people were like, you have to go early because the ribs sell out. And so I thought, like on a Friday, if I got there at 10:30 in the morning,
Mhm.
that would be early. And I got there at 10:30 in the morning, and I waited in line for 45 minutes. Yeah, and but like you go up to this place, and they've got like all the smokers outside, and you can just like smell it from 3 blocks away. And they were probably the most fall off the bone ribs I've ever had, right?
Wow.
And they were the ones where, I mean, I probably wouldn't even eat a fork. I could probably use a spoon to eat them. They were truly great.
Yes.
So then, because I wanted barbecue again, I went back the second day,
Mm.
for dinner, and they were already sold out of ribs. So
Of course.
that's obviously why everybody gets there at 10 in the morning. All right, let's go to questions, and then we'll go on to numbers 4, 5, and 6. So, Cringe Crew says there's a great place in Memphis called Charles Virgo Rendezvous, where they
Ooh,
serve the
yes.
best dry ribs ever. Have you eaten there, Jack?
I have not.
No, but you've been to Memphis.
I have been to Memphis.
We're gonna talk about Memphis coming up. That's number 7. Ozzy Carnett says, I agree. Quick barbecue is a high quality steak on the barbecue. I can do that in under 20 minutes. Use quality meat and cook it properly, including resting it. Try Kobe beef or Wagyu. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, Kobe beef and Wagyu is like, in a whole nother league altogether.
Yeah, we're gonna have to save up some money for that.
Yeah, we do. It's like, it's like $120 a pound.
That's right. Yeah,
We're eating like, $2 a pound.
Right. I do a lot of grilling on the barbecue outside, and where I buy my meat from is Costco. I think Costco has some of the most delicious steaks for the lowest prices that you can get. And they have sort of like the, I don't know, regular, and then they have the prime. And their prime, like filet mignon New York steaks, super awesome.
Do you know you can get like Wagyu from Costco too?
No, wow.
Oh yeah. Go online and check it out.
You can order it online.
You can order them online.
Okay.
Costco.com website.
Okay, yeah. I'll have to go look. David M says, evening, David
Evening?
M. Jake McShane asks, have you ever had any unusual animal barbecue? I mean, something besides the usual beef, pork, or chicken. What is good?
Lamb.
Lamb?
Obviously they had. I lived in Australia before, actually. This is prior to coming to the States. They do a lot of lambs over there in Australia. Lamb barbecues are really good over there. Yeah, they have good meat over there.
Yeah.
Grass-fed lamb, definitely put that on a Barbie, that's what they call it.
Right.
And then it's a really good eating down there. Lamb, lamb is not really kind of unusual. I think it's probably looking for something like an alligator or
Sure.
of that sort.
Sure. So I'll respond in a sort of interesting, different way. And again, we're not in this cast. We're mostly talking about American barbecue. So a lot of these odd ones are like non-American barbecues.
Yeah.
In Japan, they're really big on yakitori, right? Which is like barbecued meat on a stick. And one of the things I like at a lot of yakitori places, I like gyutan, which is cow tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I heard of cow tongue, it was when we were in Sendai. Sendai is a city in Japan, and like cow tongue is a delicacy there. And ever since then, there's actually a place here in Orange County, California, in a Mitsuwa shopping center that's a gyutan store where it's like and
it's
they
a specialty store.
that's it, and I love it. It's great. They cook the gyutan over charcoal.
It's good. So good too.
Super
You
good.
really get that chocolate flavor back.
Walter Rahman says, is it appropriate to say we're not in Kansas anymore when you're in Kansas City, Missouri?
Funny thing, you can say that definitely.
I love it.
And people in KC, well, we call them KCK, the Kansas City, Kansas side. Believe it or not, Kansas City, Missouri is a bigger part of the Kansas City, and actually the one that started out earlier.
So Kansas City is in. There's a Kansas City in Missouri, and there's a Kansas City in Kansas, right?
Right. Yeah.
So Walter asked that question too, and I sort of skipped over it, so I want to make sure we answered that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and Yippee commented and said he had ostrich as a barbecue. That's
yummy.
That sounds interesting.
You gotta share with us how well that tasted.
That's right. Okay, 4, 5, and 6 are all places in Texas, and
Texas.
barbecue. we couldn't give Texas just one number because Texas is so big.
Oh yes.
So we broke it up down to 3 because people in Texas, they frankly think they're like another country. Like Texas, they advertise themselves as being the only state in the U.S. that was its own country, because it actually was its own country at some point in time in its history. So Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. So I'll say, we talked a bit about Texas. I like Texas barbecue because it's a sweet barbecue.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is tomato based, like sauce.
Sure. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think each of these cities, these are like very main barbecue cities. Austin, Texas has this place called Franklin Barbecue. It's one of those places where you have to get there like 9 a.m. and wait in line for 2 hours outside in the heat because Texas is pretty hot.
Oh yeah.
San Antonio, I was in San Antonio for work, and there's like tons of these barbecue chain restaurants.
Sure,
like it was almost like as prevalent as McDonald's. You'd go in and they're like kind of a like old style cafeteria type thing, where like you get your tray and you go down the line and you're like, what meat do you want? And there's the person carving up the meat.
Oh yeah.
Then you get your sides and then you get your, well, I would say you get your pecan pie. But Texans would say it's not pecan, it's what? Now I'm gonna do this wrong. Pecan pie. It's a pecan pie. Yeah, it's not pecan. No, there's going to be some Texan on that's going to say I said it wrong. But if you got it, please correct me. Because I said it a couple of times in Texas, and every time I said it, I got corrected. And then Dallas, Texas. Dallas and Houston, a couple of the big cities. There's a big chain barbecue place that I really like, and they're in more than just Texas, but it's called Rudy's. Rudy's Country Store. Have you been to Rudy's Country Store?
I have not.
You've not? Okay. So, then this goes to show you how much barbecue there is in the U.S., right? Yeah. Rudy's Country Store, they sell their barbecue only by weight. So, you go in and you don't say, I want like a plate or this and that.
It's prevalent in other places,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, you go and say, I want a quarter pound, half pound, and then they have 2 cuts of brisket. They have brisket. They just have what they call brisket, and then they have brisket moist.
Oh,
and brisket.
I like the moist.
Yeah, absolutely, right. So brisket moist is the fatty part of the brisket, and so for those of you who are going to Texas, get the brisket moist, and it's a different cut. And so what I think is funny about this, every place in Texas will have those 2 cuts of brisket, and in California. There was a place I went to that advertised authentic Texas barbecue with brisket. That's their specialty. So I go in, the waiter comes by, I order, and I'm like, hey, I want the brisket. But I'm like, do you have any moist brisket? And he's like, sir, none of our brisket is dry. And at
They're
this,
offended.
that's right. But at this point, I'm like, I'm already in the wrong place. I'm like,
You don't know what I'm talking about.
That's right. This is not Texas barbecue. The other thing about Rudy's is when they serve you the barbecue, they give it to you in like this plastic box that maybe you'd get if they were delivering soda to a store. They'd put it in this plastic box. They just put down a sheet of wax paper. They cut the meat, put the meat on the wax paper.
And wrap it up.
Yeah, right. And then as much Texas toast as you want, right? Which is just pieces of bread. And that's really good creamed corn there too. Okay. Anything else you want to say about Texas barbecue, Jack?
Nah, I think you covered it good.
Okay.
Now.
Cool. Let's go to the comments, and then we'll go to the next one. The JMN squad says, "Why the hell are these guys just eating food in front of us? Like for real?" Yeah. Okay. Well, JMN squad, I guess you probably just joined, but we're eating food because we're talking about barbecue, and we just finished shooting a video about how to make Jack's famous pulled pork, which we'll be doing in a week, and so it was just done. So we're eating it as we do the live
Just
stream.
show them the actual barbecue though, if you just join.
We can. Jack, here, hold,
All right.
hold that up for those of the people that just joined. So this
There
is the
you go,
pulled
guys.
pork right here that we're eating, and super delicious pulled pork, I have to say. So stay tuned for that in about a week. All right, so let's go on to number 7, which is Memphis, Tennessee.
Ah, yes.
Tell us about Memphis, Jack.
Memphis is also another part of town, huge in barbecue. Well, they fall into what I consider the four major region of barbecue. Memphis is basically a lot of ribs going on over there. Like I mentioned, I always go for the ribs first and foremost, just to kind of see if the pass the test. You can literally they're so proliferate down down in Memphis. They're literally all over the place. They are. I was thinking sauce. It's something a little bit similar to what I had in Kansas City, but at the same time, they had their own unique little twist to it. Well, actually, I would say it should be the other way around because Kansas City, in barbecue, like I said, it's a melting pot.
Sure.
And it's taken has that little bit of flavor in there. But I think you really want to kind of find the root of where good ribs are coming from. You need to go to Memphis and try it out over there.
We need to go.
Yeah.
We should book some tickets right now.
Seriously.
Maybe I'll wait till this is over so you people don't watch me booking tickets. All right, cool. So the 8th place that's great in the U.S. for barbecue, and some of you might find this interesting that I mentioned this, but we have to mention some places in California. So the next 2 places are in California. We're from California. So this place is San Diego, California. That's where I'm born and raised. But there's a place in San Diego that's really put San Diego on the barbecue map. It is called Phil's Barbecue. Phil's Barbecue On Yelp.com, which is the U.S.'s biggest food rating site, is the second most reviewed restaurant in all of the United States. They have over 10,000 Yelp reviews, and this place is so busy that they actually have like you can go on their website and they have like a webcam that you can see how long the line is.
Yeah.
And they've moved locations.
That line is long.
It is impressive.
Yeah.
I went to Phil's when they were in their original location in San Diego. So now they're in Point Loma. They have one in the airport. They have like 5 locations now. But their original location, San Diego in Mission Hills. And it was a tiny little place. And I'd heard about this place being good. And so I go in and I go to the cash register and I order a brisket sandwich because that's what I like.
Yeah.
And the lady behind the cash register goes like, "Sir, I mean, I can take your order, but just so you know, the wait is going to be 4 hours." I'm like, 4 hours? Who waits 4 hours for barbecue?
Apparently those crazy San Diego.
That's right. I come to realize the brisket sandwich isn't really their thing, but their ribs are pretty good, and so is their barbecue chicken as well, which is interesting because chicken's not usually a big barbecue thing, but they do these kind of chicken things they barbecue and put the sauce on, which is pretty good. You gotta love the sauce at Phil's though, because they
sauce does make a big part of barbecue.
It does.
Right,
They drown their barbecue in the sauce. So if you love the sauce, you'll love Phil's. But even if you go to Phil's, there's a lot of people that say they don't love it so much. It is a place to go just by sheer nature of the spectacle of this place.
Oh yes.
And if you want the one with no line, if you're flying into San Diego, get it in the airport. The lines are super short there. Particularly at like 7 in the morning if you're flying out. Short lines for barbecue. Scottman895 Travel comments and says, "I enjoyed the dry rub ribs in Memphis a while back. They are delightful."
Oh yes, they are, isn't it?
It is.
I almost want to kind of book a flight back to Memphis, just
for the ribs.
Just for ribs.
Yeah.
I was telling my wife that we should do like a tour de barbecue.
All right, that sounds good. I'm in. Right. The Steameister said hello. All right, hello.
Hello.
Topher says hello. Hello. Scottman895 Travel comments about the 4-hour wait, question mark, exclamation mark. I probably wouldn't wait that long unless I cloned myself and I have a clone stand in line for me. That's a good idea. And if you get that cloning machine working, let me know, because I could use that clone to stand in line for me when I go to San Diego Comic-Con, also known as LineCon.
I think people do like accept your payment for waiting in line.
Yeah, right.
That seems to be a trend nowadays.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's an app for that. I bet there
is.
Yeah. Right.
If we're not, hey, that's our next business idea.
All right, good. All right. Okay, cool. We have 2 more to go, but as we get down here in the final stretch, just to remind everybody, we are giving out a Yellow Productions t-shirt to the person who asked the best question. So you only have 2 more places to go to ask a question, and then Jack's going to pick who this goes to based on the best question.
Oh, this is going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. No. Give a lot of stress to Jack.
I know.
Okay, so number 9, another place in California. This is San Luis Obispo. San Luis Obispo is a town maybe 100 miles north of Los Angeles-ish. A couple-hour drive north of LA. Sort of central California, coastal-ish. And that region is known for their tri-tip. So a lot of these different regions that we talked about, they're known for particular types of meat. And there's a place in downtown San Luis Obispo that is this place that basically just sells these tri-tip sandwiches. They slice the tri-tip really thin, make it really tender, and not just that place, but you can go to, there's like a lot of these just sort of like roadside stands on Pacific Coast Highway that sell these tri-tip sandwiches. Sometimes you'll also hear the term Santa Maria style barbecue. Santa Maria is like another city on the California coast, and so I think that's a pretty good spot for barbecue. And Jake McShane asked, is it possible for vegetarians to enjoy barbecue?
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
Yeah.
We know we have a lot of vegetarian audiences out there. Yes, you can. As a matter of fact, yeah. Do you consider corn a vegetarian food? If so, that's a great answer for you. Well, I always think that, to be a little more on the serious side, there are a lot of you do. I would definitely not cut yourself short in terms of enjoying barbecue. There's a lot of I mean, how strict you are in terms of whether you're vegan or a vegetarian. Barbecue, we talk about the meat a lot, and also like I said, barbecue is a way of cooking as much as is a type of cuisine. The corn, a lot of time, unfortunately, if you're going to these meat centric barbecue joints, you are left with kind of the sides. Not to be demeaning any of the sides.
Sure.
Your barbecue beans are really good, you know, unless they cook it in the meat.
Right. Sometimes they do.
Yeah. Like I said, how strict you are as a vegetarian.
That's right.
You can take out the meat and not eat the meat.
Creamed corn.
Creamed corn
yeah.
and corns, creamed spinach.
Yeah.
Those are very good.
Peach cobbler. I think.
There you go.
Cobblers, the desserts are pretty good at barbecue.
Yeah,
places.
especially in the South, is very good. Great
Pecan.
over some sweet teas.
Right.
Why in the South?
Right.
Gotta
Pecan
get that
pie.
sweet tea.
Right.
Pecan pie. Yeah.
Mhm.
Everything that. A lot of sides you can enjoy. And I mean, you could definitely ask for a. I mean, I don't know. The real authentic barbecue place won't have it, but if there's some place that kind of do sell barbecue / steak and chop, you might be able to get away with a vegetarian burger.
Sure.
Which I'm sorry, I can't offer something else better for you.
Yeah, we're clearly the carnivores here.
Yeah, but there you are. That's some of my suggestions. If you are dragged into the barbecue joint by your friend, at least here are some options for you in terms of try. Not be cut out of the whole barbecue experience. There you go.
Cool. Heather Ong joined. Heather. Hey, thanks for joining, and we're glad you still made it for the final two. Topher says hi as well.
Uh-huh.
Doug Wallace asks, have you ever eaten barbecued buffalo?
Whew, barbecued buffalo. I've had a buffalo steak.
Yeah.
But not buffalo as a barbecue.
Right. I've had a buffalo burger, but also not really like a barbecue like this.
Yeah,
so, yeah. I don't know, Doug, have you ever had barbecued buffalo? If so, was it good? Travel and Food 921 says, hi guys. Okay, my question is not about the barbecue, but which country or city is your favorite so far when you're traveling? Okay, Jack, what country or city is your favorite so far when you're traveling?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much places I have yet to go to pin one down as my quote unquote favorite.
Well, the ones you haven't been probably aren't your favorites yet. You haven't been there, so you won't offend them by not including them. So, what's one you have been to that you like?
Wow,
or a handful of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, I have to pick among the. It's really tough.
I know
it's a
it
really
is.
Tough question.
This is a really difficult question.
Really difficult. I just recently been to Spain, and I have to say that's a wonderful country.
Yeah. Was there a particular city you liked in Spain?
I was in Barcelona and Madrid. Yeah.
Okay.
And I have to say, I love Madrid for the food, and I think Barcelona is I love the city Barcelona has to offer. People might not agree with me on this. I have to say Madrid right now in Europe is kind of one of my favorites right now. I do like Paris. I think the city is beautiful. A lot of time but I mean I realize that not all Parisians are unfriendly. I just have my running of bad experiences. And then so people actually make up a lot of it in consideration of what I had. Spanish folks are really friendly, and that goes with Catalonian folks down in Barcelona. So yes, big thumbs up for Spain. Portugal is kind of very close too. I love it over there. Just love the tapas a little bit more.
Yeah, sure.
That kind of push them over the edge. The fact that if you like to eat, you cannot go wrong with Madrid. They have food that's cheap and available till late night. So for a fat guy like me,
that sounds good. Right. Cool.
It's my kind of heaven right there. It
Yeah.
doesn't break my bank too while I'm at it.
Yeah, we liked Spain. We liked Portugal because Portugal seemed like undiscovered Europe. Like,
it is.
you know, everything was
Mhm.
like still inexpensive in Portugal, and it
Yes.
wasn't like
Mhm.
overrun with tourists.
Yes.
But my answer to that question is my favorite city and country is Tokyo, Japan. And you might guess that by the number of Tokyo, Japan videos on my channel. I was counting the other day. I'm now up to over 70 videos on Japan. So
Wow.
I've done quite a few videos on Japan. All right. Let's see. Walter Rommel comments and says, pretty sure barbecue is all about the meat, though. I think Korean barbecue has some vegetable dishes. You can get some vegetables at Korean barbecue.
Yeah,
you can get
yeah.
some to put on the barbecue. At Japanese barbecue, like at Gyukaku, which is a Japanese barbecue chain.
Grill okras and
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
Yeah.
The thing I like the best there is the like enoki mushroom.
Oh,
Yeah, like
the
these really
mushroom,
small
yeah.
mushrooms, and then they wrap it in foil and put
Mhm.
butter inside, so that you grill these mushrooms
Those are
and
good.
butter. It's really good.
Again, to go back to the healthy comment.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's the one that's not good for you.
That's why I'm eating the
It's not. It's vegetable,
That's
but
right.
it's cooking butter.
Yeah, there you Scott895 Travel comments says barbecue restaurants also have great mac and cheese. Yum. I agree with you, Scottman. I love the mac and cheese.
Thumbs up for that. I love the mac and cheese.
Colin Cohen says I've never had a barbecue in the States, but I'm looking forward to it. The best barbecue I've had was in Australia. It was a piece of salty and roux steaks. Jack will know what that is.
Yes.
What's salty? Salty and roux. I mean, roux is kangaroo, right? Yeah. So salty and roux, is that just a term for kangaroo?
Well, I mean, it's been such a long time, like, you know, I was spending in my teenage years.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, my palate has not been really developed during that time.
Okay.
So,
So you might not have had all
I
the
might not have
delicacies
that,
right.
but, you know, I guess we got to go back to the exotic animal, like, you know, question. Like, you know, I have crocodile before.
Ooh. Yeah. How was
So
crocodile?
It's more like a red meat, I have to say.
Mm.
It's a leaner type of red meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, like a chicken or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it does. It is. If I had to pin it down, it is not as tough as meat. It's a little more tender than, like, you know, the actual beef. Like,
Yeah.
in terms of the red meat wise. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Interesting. Good re-answer for that question. Protokazi Live says, hey, I'm just actually getting into the live stream now, so after you get through the last couple, could you do a recap for those of us that haven't been here the whole time? You know, Protokazi, it'll be really hard to recap the whole thing, but the great news is that, like, about 5 or 10 minutes after we're done, if you just come to the same link that you found this video,
It's a recording.
the replay will be on YouTube, and so you can just start from the beginning and watch it all over again. And after you've watched it once, maybe watch it a second time, maybe watch it a third time, you know, really helps.
And get yourself hungrier and
Yeah,
hungrier
exactly.
and hungrier.
Really helps. Send it to a few friends, have them watch it a few times. Great. Mimi3000 comments says, I'm sure you could have some kind of fake vegan meat with barbecue sauce. You probably could. That's right.
You can.
Yeah.
Anything to get that char flavor onto your meat, on your fake meat.
That's right. That's right.
Anything for that matter.
That's right.
You can add that flavor to it.
Yeah. David M says, if you had to pick pork or beef barbecue for the rest of your life, but only one, which would you pick?
Okay, I think this is going to be one of the tough questions. And like, you know,
Well, the good news is you've only got 2 choices to pick from.
That's true.
So that
But you
narrows it
could
down.
eat for the rest of your life, though.
Yeah, rest of your life.
I think what your answer is going to be, since you like
Yeah,
brisket so much.
Yeah, my answer is beef because I like beef brisket. So.
I mean, I'm from the Asian heritage, so like pork related product is huge in Asian cooking. So I had to say pork.
All right, there you go. So
Chris can eat my beef, and I can eat his pork.
right. Well, the perfect thing is that we won't ever run out since we
There you
picked
go.
opposite
There you
things. So
go.
there'll be plenty to go around. Let's see. So Walter helped Protokazi and let them know that they can see their list of favorites in the video description. So that's good. Thanks, Walter. You're right. If you, for anybody who joined late, if you want to see the ones we've already talked about, just expand the description and you'll see numbers 9 through 1. Doug Wallace votes Malaysia. So Doug,
wow.
Malaysia is your favorite place you've been to, or your favorite place for barbecue?
They do have the soft taste. In
That's
like
right.
Malaysia. That's
That's
like,
right.
you know, that's barbecue
Yeah.
goodness with a peanut sauce.
Yeah.
So good. So I think I know where you're coming from. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
I think like there's a lot of if you're a foodie, Malaysia is the place to be. Yeah,
Sure.
in the Southeast Asia, like
Yeah.
on the side of the house. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot. Especially you got to go to experience the hawker life.
Right. Yeah, everybody comments on my Singapore videos and says if I liked the food in Singapore, I should go to Malaysia.
Oh, you do, yeah. They're well, I won't say it's 10 times better. That'd be over exaggerating a little bit. Yeah, it would
Not
be
just exaggerating, but
from
over
a pricing standpoint, and also the variety and the actual authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah, this top notch. You cannot beat Malaysia.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I should book a ticket there after we do our
There you
barbecue
go.
tour.
We're gonna be very busy with our travel agents pretty soon.
We will be. Colin Cohen says, I'd just like to say a big thank you for both most enlightening video. Looking forward to your next one. Colin, those are very sweet words.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I appreciate
you for
it.
joining. Yippee says, the food is so good in Tokyo, they can hide the trash cans. You're right, Yippee, that's true. I just had a video
The
about
no
where
trash
the
can,
trash
yeah.
cans in Japan, so that's right.
Try the convenience store.
Right. Og Clement says, hello again. I went to the market and you are still alive. So Og Clement, welcome back. Thanks for coming back
Hey,
from the
there you
market.
go.
And Doug Wallace says, only satay in Penang.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
where. Well, there's satays everywhere, but the good ones are in Penang.
Oh, all right. Good to know. Okay, so we're to number 10. Drum roll, please. And I listed this one as you'll have to wait and see because this is going to be a non-obvious place. This non-obvious place is none other than the state of Hawaii. All right. Because, very good, I love it. Because in Hawaii, they have the Kalua pig, right? Where they basically barbecue the whole pig.
Oh yes.
And luau's, things like that. They're famous for that. The other thing that I want to add related to Hawaiian barbecue, and it's not really, it's not Hawaiian, but it's something in Hawaii a lot,
Yes.
is Korean barbecue because
It
there's
is.
like Korean
It
restaurants
is.
everywhere. There's
Yeah.
this chain in like Oahu called Yummy's Korean barbecue, and there's like kalbi like everywhere, right?
Oh,
like
yes.
the grilled Korean short rib that's
Yes.
marinated. That's probably one of my favorite things when I go to Hawaii is to get the kalbi.
Oh yeah. I have a thing for zippies over
Zippies, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Zippies.
What do you like best of Zippies?
the zip pack, of course.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's what consists of spam musubi.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, a grilled spam.
Uh-huh.
Like that kalbi rib.
Yeah.
And I think some pork.
Right.
It's like 3 kind of meat. And
Right.
and with a mac salad.
Right.
And over white rice. Oh.
Yeah. Sounds
It's
good.
to die
Sounds
for.
good. I'm in. Yeah, I like Zippies too.
So fatty.
Right.
Again, go back to that. Not healthy.
Healthy
Yeah,
part.
that's not healthy.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I think that's okay though. Zippies is also famous for their chili, right?
Oh, chili.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I tried the chili. Yeah, it's not too bad. I wouldn't say it's the best I've had. Well, actually, it's pretty good, I've said. Yeah, well, there's actually a whole lot of things for chili, too. Like, Cincinnati for one.
That's
Yeah,
right. We could have a whole video about chili.
Oh,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. We can cook some chili, too.
Right. Let's see. Love KB Man says, hi. Any good local barbecue place to go in Orange County?
Ooh.
My response, barbecue aficionados might not like, but my favorite barbecue place in Orange County is this chain that's here called Lucille's. Lucille's is it's a big restaurant, but I think they have some pretty good barbecue. Because I like tri-tip sandwiches, and I really like their tri-tip sandwich.
I really wanted to discover it. Because I feel like there's a lot more barbecue places in OC that started popping up. Like, a lot of places that I haven't tried myself personally. I personally like to stay away from the chains. I did like for Lucille's, because you all know the background where Lucille come from.
No,
right?
where's it come from?
Yeah, it's BB. Ever heard of the jazz legend BB King?
Sure.
That's his favorite guitar.
Okay.
His name was his guitar. It's
Okay.
Lucille's. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where it gets the name from.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of the neat thing about Lucille's, even though it is a chain, the restaurants, they look like an old southern house, basically. And they have sort of an inside and an outside that almost has you're almost eating on a deck or a patio that has windows, but it's still all air conditioned. So that's pretty good.
So there are Orange County, there are barbecue places, but it's just that I don't think I actually start venturing out for these places. So.
Let's see. Clement adds a question for you, Jack, which is, Jack, have you been to Singapore?
Yes, I have. That's a fact. Yeah, as a matter of fact, yes. I did tried the Hawker Center. I have to say though, like back to my comment earlier, they have Singaporean has good food, though pricey. So, but they do have their. I do enjoy whilst there like their chili crab.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the dishes I had, like, that I still remember of Singapore.
That is one of the things I have yet to have.
No way.
That's right. I've been to Singapore a number of times, and everybody tells me I should have the chili crab.
Chili crab, yeah. So they can like yeah, it's really good. They have something called they call it the oyster pancake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's similar to one that you have in Taiwan.
Sure.
But it's made a little differently. That's also very, very good. It's something that, it's a different twist to what I'm accustomed to.
Right.
Yeah, so like that's definitely a good discovery. They still have Singaporean bak kut teh, like which is the meat bone soup. Those are like they typically cook it like in the ribs, like and then they put in the broth. Those are really good too. Yeah, so I do like Singapore. It's a very easy to get in and out of. It's like a city, really hustle and bustling city.
Yeah.
And super hot.
Good. All right. Great of you to say that. So I feel better. All right.
Yes.
Cool. Yippee says Hawaiian barbecue reminds me of Philippine barbecue.
Yeah, a little bit. It's
Chicken
a lot of grilling, like
chicken, yeah.
But Philippine barbecue, there's a lot of seafood in there, which Hawaiian barbecue doesn't necessarily have in that sense.
Right.
So they do a lot of I say grilled octopuses, like grill like fish or charboiled fish, like that's all kind of considered Filipino barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a slight distinction there.
Cool. Jake McShane asks, does Jack have a blog or web page that we can follow online?
Wow, man, getting followers.
Yeah.
No, I don't have one. I talk about that luxury of time thing. Don't have it.
Twitter account, anything you'd like to advertise? Tell you what, if Jack has anything that he wants to advertise later, I'll post it up in the comments below. Doug Wallace says, Lechon Baboy? I'm not sure what that is. So, you'll have to let me know. Ayo Kakesu says Topher, smiley face. Topher smiling back at you. OC Girl wanted me to let you all know that you can buy Zippy's chili from Tokyo Central in Costa Mesa. So there's a store, so for those of you that are local to Orange County, there's a store in Costa Mesa on Harbor Boulevard called Tokyo Central. It is owned by, what's the name of the chain? It's Don Quixote. Right. So Don Quixote is like maybe like the Japanese version of Walmart or something.
Yeah.
But when it was here, it was Marukai, and Marukai was all like Japanese Hawaiian products. Right. So you can buy the Zippy's chili from there too. Walter Rommel says, on the subject of Hawaii, have you ever went to any of the U.S. unorganized territories, Guam, Samoa, etc.?
I would love to go though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty typically a little hard to get access to. I believe United has those island hopper. Like,
they do, right?
Yeah, flight. I seem to remember reading about them.
Right.
Again, it's hard to get to. It takes a lot of time.
That's right.
There. But I heard they're beautiful though. So.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah, I know those islands more from K-pop videos than actually going there. Because apparently, like, Guam and then, like, Saipan both have direct flights from Korea. Like, you can't get to Saipan. It's a U.S. territory, but you can't get there from the U.S. You get there by flying to Korea and then flying to Saipan. So
that's right.
Very interesting. Jack, there's some Chinese there.
Hi,
for
Frank.
You. All right.
Yeah, so that's my friend Frank. Lun, say hi, Lun. How are you? That's Frank's son.
Cool, awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Frank, and
thanks, Frank, for joining.
And Topher says hi to
Lun
too. All right, Yippee says lechon pig. It's pig on a stick over fire.
Yes.
Okay, Philippine barbecue pig. Got it. Slow cooked in a fire pit for hours. A national treasure.
Oh yes.
All right. Well, that brings us to the last comment. So, so now, Jack, we have to give away this T-shirt.
Oh my God!
So
we got to this. There's so many quick questions.
Yeah, there are so many good questions, but we have to give this away to somebody. Oh. So, was there a question that you recall that you're like, that was a really good question? and then we'll see if they're still online. Because if they're not online, then they don't get it. But they have to be online to win. So.
Well, so many good questions.
Yeah.
In such a time span, I have to say that. Ooh, I had to go with one that kind of challenged me a lot.
Okay.
You know, in terms of I think I like that pork versus beef.
Pork versus beef. So this was the comment where somebody asked if you could only pick one, pork or beef, for the rest of your life.
David
which would
M.
you pick? Is that
David
it?
M.
All right, David M. David M. Are you online? Because David M. asked the best question.
Yeah,
So-
the vegetarian question is. Oh, there it is.
All right, David M.
I have to
still
say the
online.
vegetarian question actually threw me off a little bit too. Like, I had to really think hard about that one.
Vegetarian barbecue.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like
Okay.
that might be a thing, guys. Like
Right.
I think you guys are onto something.
Right.
We got a huge vegetarian movement out here, and I feel like there's a place for it. Barbecue with vegetarian, I would think that they go together. Like I said, throughout the segment, that vegetarian, like barbecue, is a way of cooking. There's got to be a way to infuse that with vegetarian. So
Right. So we'll work on that. So David M, if you want to find me on Facebook, you can send me a private message to the Yellow Productions page on Facebook. My Facebook link is down below. Or if you don't have Facebook, you could shoot me an email. It's chris@yellow.net, yellow with 2 W's. So either send me a Facebook message or send me your address via email, and I will send the t-shirt out to you lickety-split. All right, well, everybody, I want to say thanks for joining. Jake McShane was the one who got the silver medal for his vegetarian question.
Jake,
so-
great question.
Yeah.
Sorry I didn't pick you, buddy, but you're really up there.
All right. So that's going to bring us to the end of our live stream. It is now 7:27. We've been going for 86 minutes. So thanks everybody who started at the beginning and made it to the end. We really appreciate it. Thanks for asking lots of great questions. And if you want to know when the next live stream will be, well, it's still to be determined because I got a lot of travel coming up, and so I got to sneak it in there someplace. So if you follow me on Facebook, down below, I'll announce when the next live stream is. And hey, if you'd like Jack back to talk about some stuff, let us know what you'd like Jack to talk about in the next one. Maybe we'll schedule another live stream too. So
yeah, in the meantime, keep yourself hungry, keep exploring what's out there.
Right.
And hopefully we'll see you next time.
That's good. And Jack will be back, not in a live stream, but next week with a video about how to make this really great pulled pork with only 3 ingredients. So stay tuned for that because you love it. It was really good. You should totally watch it. Now I'm going to get up and push that finish button up there. Very untheatrical like. I have to walk up here because this iPad's a really long way away.
Bye guys, I will miss you. See ya.